Hi everyone. Today I actually wanted to talk to you about the process of birthing a shamanic drum. So over the weekend I actually was quite privileged to participate in a 2-day workshop to actually create or birth my own shamanic drum. So I'll just show you what it looks like. Looks like this, and the back looks like that. As a shamanic practitioner, one of the tools that we use in healings is tone and sound. And the purpose of a shamanic drum is obviously to assist with the healing. Sometimes our guides actually would like to channel their energy medicine through the beat of the drum. And another purpose of using the shamanic drum is to actually go on a shamanic journey. Now, journeying is pretty much getting you into this theta brainwave state. So that's pretty much your meditative state, where you can access your subconscious in order to get answers on what you are looking for. How we do that is to actually tap into our guides, and our guides will take us on a little journey to meet or to get the answer of whatever it is that you're seeking. So as a facilitator, what we will tend to do is we will be playing the drum at certain beats to kind of get you into that state. And then we just hold the space for you to connect with your guides and receive the messages that you need to receive. Then we will bring you out of that state safely, because we don't actually want you hanging out over there. We want you back here on planet Earth and ready to actually, be in this physical reality. So that's another purpose of what the shamanic drum is for. And for other, people, the shamanic drum is used as part of ceremony or ritual, and sometimes we're called to use the drum in order to help manifest certain things or, clear certain things or whatever. It's really up to you whenever you feel like you're called to use it or not. The same with me, the drum will call me to be used in healings for a particular person. So if you come and see me for a healing, you may or may not get the medicine from this drum. It will just depend on where you are at this point in time. However, what I wanted to talk to you about was the whole process of actually creating it. So it's really interesting that when you actually create a tool or a shamanic drum, there's lots of things during the process which will actually come up to make you reflect on your own life. So, for example, for me, the first stage is obviously preparing. So you grab your skin, which for the workshop I attended, there were 2 types of skin to choose from. One was deer skin and one was kangaroo skin. You generally tend to do all of this quite intuitively. And when I walked around to the skins, I was actually quite drawn and could feel the energy coming off this one, which was the kangaroo skin, which was quite hilarious because I'd always thought that I was going to get a deer skin drum, but when I was faced with the choice, the energy was pretty clear telling me that I needed to get the kangaroo skin instead. And so after that, we went on a drum journey to meet the spirit of the animal, of who's given us this beautiful skin. And for me, the messages was, if you think about a kangaroo, kangaroos can only move forward. They can't actually move backwards. And that's kind of a theme of my life. Like, even though I don't necessarily know the direction that I'm going in, it's all about taking one step forward at a time. Further, what the spirit of that kangaroo was telling me was, because the kangaroo, if you look at their feet, they're huge, right? They're firmly grounded, and they use their connection to the ground to kind of propel themselves off and leap and move forward. And the more they use their connection to the ground, the higher and the further that they can leap. So for me, what the kangaroo was telling me was, the more grounded I can get, the more further and higher I can go. And it was also about feeling into the power that I actually have. And it was it was pretty amazing. And I believe everyone's got this sort of power, right? It's not just me. And you generally will get a sense of, whether the animal is male or female or whatnot. But the funniest thing for me was when I actually asked my animal what it was, because I was quite confused, because generally I can tell. You can tell if something's female or male. But the kangaroo just looked at me in my eyes and just said, doesn't really matter. Everyone has a masculine side. Everyone has a feminine side. And if it all balances out, it doesn't really matter. So pretty much, my kangaroo is quite modern. It's transgender. It was pretty much, I will refer to this drum as a she sometimes, and I'll refer to the drum as a he sometimes. And I'm not really attached to either one or the other. It just depends on the energy which is coming out of it. So that was quite interesting too. So after the drum journey with the skin, we went and started to prepare, which is tracing out, the shapes to cut into the skin. I found tracing out the shapes and then cutting it relatively easy for me, which then to me means that I'm pretty good in my usual life with preparation of creating whatever it is that I want to create. Then the next step after that was actually to hammer in the holes. To cut the skin and then hammer into the holes where you're actually going to lace the skin through to create this at the back. So this one I had issues with. And it showed to me that, for me, it was about standing in my power. It was really difficult for me, probably for half of the time, to actually get that strength to hammer the holes into the skin. Because it's pretty hard, Creating a drum is actually quite laborious. And so by the end of it, I could really understand, it's about me just stepping up and being okay that, it's okay for me to actually, use all the power that I have. So that was quite good to know. Then after that, we pretty much soaked and cleaned the skin in water and left that overnight, because you have to have the skin kind of quite malleable in order to put it over the frame and then weave the lacing through it. So then the next day we came along and it was about getting that skin and putting it over the frame and beginning to lace it. Now, the group that I was in, and we only had 3 people, it's a very small group of a workshop, which is fantastic because everyone gets, attention on them. All of us had issues weaving our kind of cords, our skin through over here, which is called a running stitch. Because it's pretty much just one long strand of skin, I kept getting it tangled up, and then there were knots and all that kind of stuff, which was really, really annoying. And so to me, that was kind of like, there were a couple of cords in my life which probably weren't very healthy, and it was time to get rid of them, or at least untangle them so that it will help me move forward in whatever it is that I wanted to create. And before that, however, we had another drum journey in the morning, which was to meet the spirit of a plant called yarrow. And yarrow is apparently really good with getting rid of cords or establishing really healthy cords as well. So this took ages. And then when it came to weaving it up through here, that wasn't as bad. A bit confusing at first because you kind of got to know the pattern, but then after that, we were doing a lot of tensioning in order to get the skin to a state where, it was quite tight on the front. And then finished off with the weave. You'll see there's the Celtic cross here. And for me, I chose not to actually tuck the skin over, kind of like a hem. I was guided that I needed to just let it be as it was. And, then I kind of was doing these little pleats around here. Each of them has 3, which for me is like the Trinity, the 3. So after that, it was time to just let that dry. For me, because kangaroo skin's quite thin, it doesn't take very long to dry. Those with a thicker skin, like deer skin, probably take about 3 weeks. I mean, this is a couple of days, but it's pretty much dry. So after that, we then created our drum beater, which to me took forever because my stick was actually quite small. Because I've got small hands, and yeah, for me, creating this drum beater actually tried my patience a lot, because by that time we were getting close to 6 p.m. and the workshop should have finished at 4. So yeah, it was about, I need to learn a lot more patience. So after that was done, we then did a walk of the labyrinth and just kind of reinforced the birthing of our drum, laying down whatever it is that we wanted to lay down in the middle, and then walk out kind of like a fresh phase of our life. So it was really amazing. And the person who facilitated the drum making workshop, her name is Liz Conlon. I'll put the details below so that you know. And the thing that I really liked about it was that it was actually in her home, and her family were so welcoming. And it's nice to be able to be in a space where you actually feel like you're part of the family. You know, we talk to her husband, we talk to her daughter. And the other thing is the wooden frame, which the drum is made of, that's actually made by Liz's husband, who crafts wood. And his father was a master wood crafter as well. So there's really nice stories that go with everything. And Liz has got these 2 lovely cats as well. So it was just really nice to be in a small, intimate setting and have the support by someone as patient and kind as Liz. The beautiful thing is that Liz never advertises her workshops, but for some reason she was always getting people, which to me means that it's supposed to be. And I was actually guided to her. My guides pretty much said, you will go to this person to facilitate your drum making, and it'll be on this particular date. My guides can be quite specific. So yeah, that's the process of making a drum. You do have lots of personal insights into yourself when you're doing it, and just be open to it. And also know that sometimes it's not going to be easy. There'll be parts that will be really easy, which reflect where you are in your current life. And there are other parts which will be damn hard, which will also reflect where you are in your life. However, just know that you will come through it, which then means whatever obstacles are thrown in your path, you will be able to get through it and create whatever it is that you want to create. So I'll quickly just give you a couple of beats on this drum just so that you can hear it. I don't want to play too much just because, I am wary of the fact that it is relatively new, so I want to make sure it's 100% dry before I start using it in healings and stuff. But, just so that you can hear what it is all about. So you can already... Those who are sensitive will most likely feel the energy and the medicine that this drum holds. I was feeling that at the end, which is why I had to blow out. But yeah, all skins will have its own character. Your drum will have its own character, not only its character of the animal of which the skin is used, but also the energy of the person that's been put into it too. So I hope that shed some light about what it takes to create a shamanic drum. And yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know. Thanks a lot. See ya.